I would venture to say that most of you guys, whoever comes across this video, has seen the movie The Matrix. Now, it's more in a fictitious plot story, but I think that's why it went over our heads a lot. You know, so when I was watching it a couple months ago again, I really thought about like the state of my life, what I know, what I didn't know at a certain time, who I was around, who I should have been around or not been around. Like I started thinking about a lot of stuff. And then like it just hit me. Like as I'm watching the movie, like when I first watched the movie, basically when it first came out, I'm a kid. I'm thinking it's cool, it's flips, it's cinematic. You know, everything is raw, guns, violence, a cool story. This guy seems chosen and he seems superhuman. But when I watched it again a couple months ago, right, I'm like, wow. I'm like, first off, being a child is just interesting. You know, how you really have to, you know, you have to literally physically age. But age is not all. You have to literally start going through stuff in life, start experiencing things in life. And that's what I want to talk about. A lot of us are experiencing things in life. And like we act like we really don't know why. Like we act like, you know, it's either just meant to be this way or it's our fault. Like we don't really know, Sadika, we don't really know or think about the full plot. But life is always blue and red. Life is always choice. Life is always free will. Right? Like, you know, yes, we're not asked to be born into this world, right? Yes, we're not asked to be born into this matrix. But every second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year we do live, we're making a choice to go with the motions and experience a life masked with vanity, but living dull inside, or wake up to see everything is vain, live with hope, integrity, confidence, and courage to maneuver through bullshit, and forget about the physical on the outside. They're the inverse of each other, right? For the red pill people to exist, blue people, for the people who choose the red pill, there has to be a pull for a certain demographic to choose the blue pill. But why do most people choose the blue pill? Why do most people succumb to certain situations, succumb to a certain plateau, to a certain circle, environment, knowing, I'm talking about two different blue pill choosers. I'm talking about the people who choose the blue pill every day because they're young, they're naive, they've been given a silver spoon in their mouth, right? They've been around, you know, desensitized violence and social injustices, right? So we're kind of blind or used to certain things, especially certain negative things that happen in our life at different times and phases of our life, right? We get on certain jobs, we stay at it, it's all mundane, right? We talk about this all the time. But then there's the other type of people who choose the blue pill, who know that they're in some shit. Like they actually know. Like Cypher, like he knew he was eating fake meat. Like in the States, we know we're eating fake and processed meat, yet we're still gonna do it. I ask my wife this all the time. Or not even ask her, I tell her. I'm like, how do I go from actually being in a place where I know it's killing me, like now I'm talking about physically killing me, and then I leave a place to go to a different place or a different environment to where the food is at least more beneficial, and then I look to go back, or I want to go back. Like, how do I want to go back? There's a pull. there's a pull. So I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but there's a lot of people like Cypher who was born into the matrix. We all are. But there's a certain point of life, there's a certain phase, a certain epiphany that hits us, that triggers our endorphins and dopamine, right? To be like, this is a facade. But you can't actually know that until you choose a path. Like, you can't actually live in that regard until you choose to understand the ramifications that come with choosing the red pill. And there's a lot of people like Cypher in this world today that are born into the matrix, that wake up to a certain situation, big or small, and then they understand everything around them, yet they still kind of play two sides. And there's at least a mental fight, a mental stronghold, because you're in it so long. And choosing the red pill is hard because you don't have a circle around you. Food becomes more bland because you're trying to be healthy, right? You're trying to be more strict with your finances, right? You tend to drink less. You tend to club less. So your circle becomes tighter, right? Mornings, wake up. Like, your life becomes so aware that you tend to get frightened on a more radical sense. You tend to get frightened in doing what most people do. So people like Cypher, they tend to go back. They get back in it. They know it. They know they're eating the fake meat. They know they're being micromanaged on their job. They know it, guys. They know that their family is toxic, but they're homesick. Yo, there's people are telling us in our face that they would rather die on the job. They would rather die in their community. And I'm not just talking about, like, literally, like, I'm not just talking about financially, emotionally, spiritually. I'm actually talking about physically too. Like, people are willing to take the risk with life because there are certain points and parts of their day, week, month, and year that they think it makes sense, that it feels like doing this makes sense. And what are those certain things? There's your birthdays. There's that raise you've been waiting on for 5 to 10 years. There's that family you've been waiting to build for 5 or 10 years. There's that degree you've been built. There's that degree you guys been looking to get for the last 10 to 15 years, right? There's a certificate, the house. We get to these certain physical milestones that are made and implanted in us due to a fake society. We really forget. Like, look, this is why people choose the blue pill too. I'm gonna add another caveat. We really forget that me as a human, I should have the same rights to this world like another man or woman, white, black, Hispanic, in between, Latino, whatever, right? But we forget that part of this matrix, it takes certain people and places them on a hierarchy. We all bleed the same. We all come from someone's vagina, right? We all die. But the matrix, part of this matrix, it takes certain people who can cast the greatest influence and create the greatest confusion in the world, in different parts of the world, at least. And it brings everybody under this subordinates. It's a fake society. How are we all born as humans in this massive world, yet we have to look up to another man? Like, you guys get what I'm saying? The Matrix. That's just what it is. There's no mystic behind it. There's no mystic. If we're all of the same species, like, get what I'm saying? As humanoid species, we're on top of the food chain, mostly due to cognition and innovation capabilities that we have, different than other mammals and insect-like species, right? But then the Matrix provided another fake hierarchical system to where within the food chain, or within us being on top of the food chain, what's up, man? Within with us being on top of the food chain, from a species to species perspective, there is now certain humans. There is now certain groups of people. There is now the elite out of the species that is on top of the non-elites. Again, fake society that blue pill choosers succumb to and also promote. It's easy to do because there's a system that's in place. This is why people choose the blue pill without realizing there's a system that's in place that it's hard to debunk because you need numbers. But you also need to learn how to sacrifice. We can't sacrifice vanity. We can't sacrifice our homes. We can't sacrifice whether we're renting or buying. We can't sacrifice our cars, our jewelry, our clothes, going on dates with certain people who are also vain. Like, we can't sacrifice our family who are stuck on living in a non-progressive manner, especially with their mind, right? We can't sacrifice our job that's paying us $50,000 or $500,000 a year. We can't sacrifice that. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. It's hard to be. It's hard to not be a blue pill chooser in an environment where everybody chooses the blue pill. Why would you take the road less beaten? You guys get what I'm saying? It's a matrix, guys. It's not just on, it's just not, I'm not talking about people in America. This is people in the world. Because there are people who leave America. There are people who leave the States for a couple months to a couple years. Because they're leaving for a reason, right? They want to get out of the rat race. They want to get out of the matrix. And then a couple months, a couple years, they start feeling lonely. They're trying to get back into a space, telling themselves that this doesn't make sense. I don't deserve to be flexible. I don't deserve to be free, not just mentally, but also physically, financially, emotionally, socially. I should be able to blend into different demographics, rich, broke, in between, Black, Asian, Oriental, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But then we've been stuck on the blue pill so much. And we also have people who are still in our life who are currently subjectifying themselves to choosing the blue pill. We have to choose the blue pill every day. Whatever pill we choose at some point, it's a decision to choose it every day. So even though you may have chosen the red pill at one point, because a lot of us don't think about this. We ask ourselves, why do people do this? Why do people do that? Like, they left the situation. You know, little man left the hood. Why did he go back? Because there's people, just because you leave a situation or an environment, if you didn't leave the people behind you or learn to ignore the influence of people who choose the blue pill every day, you will go back to it. This is why we all choose the blue pill. Most of us. And the blue pill isn't about financial status. No, there's elites who choose the blue pill. It's not a sex thing. It's not an orientation. It's not a race or demographic. It's just black and white. You choose to live in vanity and subjugate yourselves to a physical, fake, hierarchical system, or you don't. That's it. Guys, you made it this far into the video. Leave me a sub. Hit a like. You know. And I know where I'm going with this channel. I don't look to be big. I look to stay small. Because, again, a lot of the information I'm going to present, right, it puts people in paranoia and stress. It does. So there's going to be a lot of people who, one, there's going to be a demographic, a certain amount of people at least that YouTube doesn't push to. That's for one. For two, there's going to be a certain demographic that may look at this and not engage at all. Three, there's going to be a certain demographic that doesn't engage and speak ill on it because they're in denial and they're in the stress of their life because they do choose the blue pill. It is not necessary from a negative, standpoint. Like, we choose it ignorantly just because we don't know. We rave about sports, music, partying, getting to the bag, right? We do this a lot, right? It's these vain metrics, right? That keeps us docile, that keeps us obeying, that keeps us being subjective and inferior instead of getting to a superior spot in life, at least mentally. I always say at least mentally because that's where it should start. It should start with, you know. So we're doing all this low energy level things. So there's ignorance, and it's made like that. It's made like that, y'all. So I don't expect, honestly, much from most, right? Because it's made that way. But for the people who do choose the red pill and are aware of those consequences, those sacrifices of friends, money, right? Power, connections, you care less about having, owning, especially owning materialistic and depreciating things. That stuff subsides from you. You subconsciously don't even start to think about that stuff no more. Guys, if you are like going through that, you're not alone, for one. And if you are, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. That is energy I want to be around. I stand on that. Everybody goes through something to where the choice is always put in front of you. Now, we could live a long life. It could be good or bad. But that means we choose every day. The longer we live, at least physically, the more choices we have to make, right? But there's certain points in our life, certain phases in our life, especially getting to different decades and stages in our life. From an age perspective, that choice becomes harder and harder and harder because we get stuck in the realm of thinking this is how it is. I've been doing this long enough. Why should I change? So anyway, guys, I want to encourage y'all to make that tough decision if you move to. Go. Life is beautiful. It truly is. Once you just tear off all that extra shit, it really is. Not saying there's not going to be any cons to being fully aware of a lot of things around you. But as long as you guys are circling yourselves, putting yourselves in an environment of thinkers and people who are never looking to be comfortable, and people who think first, and people who take initiative and charge first rather than waiting for others, you put yourself in that circle, you'll be straight.